Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is The Take for Market Rebellion. I'll tell you what, when you go back and you take a look at this week, you're going to see some really interesting activity throughout the week. But the really interesting activity yesterday started off with the Dow, which was absolutely exploding to the upside early on. It was up 200 points. It was up 300 points in the first hour. Then we started to see a little bit of a meltdown, a little bit of flattening out. We actually closed near the lows of the day, up about 19 points. So that's definitely something that stood out. But you look over at the NASDAQ and a little bit of a different story there, where it looked very, very interesting in that first 90 minutes. It dropped towards that flat area, and then it started to accelerate. And the acceleration moved to finish near the highs of the day, up over 108 points to the upside, and back up and over that 14,000 level. So we continue to see this sort of movement back and forth, but specifically from the NASDAQ of late, where we've watched the NASDAQ really start to come back and start to push towards those 52-week high levels, all-time high levels for the NASDAQ. And it's getting very close once again as it's back up and over that 14,000. Crude yesterday back over that $70 and holding on to those levels. You had the 10-year back under 1.5%. So that was something that everybody, of course, has their eyes focused directly on, with volatility trading very close to, call it 16 yesterday, near 52-week lows. But then include the fact that even with that lower volatility, oftentimes you have lower volumes. Not the case yesterday. 41.2 million contracts trading yesterday. AMC, the leader, with 1.7 million. We had Tesla and Apple afterwards, both over 1 million contracts. So a lot of activity. AMC and some of those meme stocks continue to be very active. We've watched the move to the upside. We recently have had a little bit of a pullback to the downside as well. So not totally unexpected. Not anything goes in a straight line always, but we have certainly had some huge moves out of many of those different stocks in that category. We've got that range that I was talking about in Bitcoin, in that, call it 36,000 to 38,000 range that we are kind of finding ourselves in. Now, it was just a few days ago that we were actually pushing down into the 31,000 level, but it seems like we've got that magnet towards this particular sort of a price range. So we'll see if that holds intact. So yesterday, healthcare, definitely the leadership, nearly a 2% move to the upside. You had biotech really very strong. Financials getting hit a little bit as we were watching rates go to the downside. Materials were also off a little bit, with industrials, energy kind of trading in that flat area. But that doesn't mean there weren't some NASDAQ high flyers and some movement in different areas of the marketplace. You look at Zoom, you look at Splunk, you look at Adobe. Mercado Libre is another one of those that was moving to the upside. So a lot of different activities within the markets themselves. And ServiceNow certainly up that 5% off of that upgrade that they got from Goldman Sachs onto the conviction buy list. Already was on the buy list itself, but now on the conviction buy list had that stock moving to the upside pretty nicely. So you fold into Friday. Going to finish out the week. The Dow looked pretty strong in the early parts, the pre-market section. We had the Dow up about 85 points in the pre, NASDAQ not doing a whole heck of a lot. We opened up about 120 points and 130 points. And then as we got to the top of the hour, the first 30 minutes or so, we started to see the market start to ease back, at least for the Dow. And the last I looked, the Dow was up about 15 points, with the NASDAQ kind of moving a little bit to the upside, but nothing huge, but up about 30 points to the upside. So certainly tech is one of those areas, obviously, that's going to be driving that, a little biotech as well. Healthcare has been one of the areas of focus. We take a look at Biogen each and every day ever since that Alzheimer's drug had been released, and that stock definitely trading very nicely, along with Eli Lilly and some of the big pharma names as well. Materials, that was up about 1% early. Financials were up about 0.6% early, along with industrials, but a little bit of a fade as we watch the Dow actually start to slip. But in the material space early on, Freeport Mac up about 4%. You had CF Industries up about 2%. So those are some of those in the material space. When we talk about materials and energy and some of these industrials, there are some very specific names that have certainly been some of the leadership role, and obviously Freeport Mac, US Steel, some of those kinds of names. Crude still holding right around 70, 50 in that range. As I mentioned, Bitcoin, 37,000, 37,500. That's where we find ourselves today. So in between that 36 and 38,000 sort of a level. 10-year, a little bit lower at 1.45. So that's something that definitely stands out. Now two things that are going to stand out for you, and then we're going to get going here, but we've got some unusual for you, as always. And the first one's going to be Ring Central. Trading right around 270.60. We had a buyer of 3,300 of the June 300 calls. These don't have a lot of time to perform, but this is a stock that we've watched move on many occasions in the past as well and can definitely accelerate to the upside. We're looking at 175 all the way up to about 285 for that 3,300 calls that they're buying there at the 300 level. EDU, New Oriental Education and Technology. This is one of the names, we've had multiple names in this space, but this is one of the names that's been very, very consistently hitting on the unusual option activity that we track each and every day from those algorithms. Stock was trading just below 10. It was 988. We had a buyer of 6,000 of the October 12 calls going for about $1.15. Unusual for a variety of reasons. One, they're going all the way out to October. Everything seems to be very, very close, very near-term expiration cycles. This one, we're going out to October, so that's part of the unusual. The other part is it hit yesterday with July 12 call buyers. So we're seeing some buying yesterday, some buying today. Certainly that stands out. And the fact that we've seen a fairly consistent buying in that particular sector as well. So those are 6,000 of the October 12 calls. Folks, I'll tell you what, it's been a really interesting week. Hopefully you're staying cool. I know we've had some heat advisories, this, that, and the other. We've been averaging about 95, 96 degrees every single day for about the last 10 days here in Minnesota. It continues to be very hot as well. Stay safe, be smart, get in the AC if you've got it. And I'll tell you what, enjoy yourselves over the weekend because we got a huge week in front of us as well. Have a great day of trading.